I've been out and about again, digging, running down that rabbit hole. All these old lures and cool stuff, and I'm kind of cheap about it, but you can pick up some stuff at pretty good prices. And I'm gonna take it out and fish it. I'm a fish and collect. That's what they were designed for. So we're gonna take them out and do some fishing. Check it out.
Well, howdy, folks. You have stumbled upon new old school fishing. And we're back in the kitchen here. I mean, the studio. Turn on my light. There you go. You can see. What? You're switching channels. Damn blame me. Went out flea marketing, yard sailing, surfing. Rooting through my own old stuff. Got some more stuff to show you. It's so much fun. I love watching these things and seeing what people come up with. Just out and about. All these cool old lures, cool designs. And I tell you what, we are doing better fishing. You know, we always did kind of fish old school stuff, but now that we're really delving into it and like trying to do shows about showing you different things we catch fish on, because there's sometimes the fish just ain't biting that good and you chuck on what sometimes you want to catch fish. But as we stick with some of these old lures and chuck them out there, they're working. And I mean, some of these big fish are coming up and just boom. I mean, you think you're stuck on a log or something. It's a big old fish. So I'll show you some of these things and check it out on our channel. Some of it is, if you click up on, if you're watching this on the Roku TV or something, hit that cross, hit the up button, takes you up, and you'll see a little round circle with my thumb taped up, my insignia I guess you'd call it. Click on that and then go to channel and then go to playlist and check out these lures. That's the playlist. It has most of them. A lot of the other fishing ones do too, but especially fishing in Canada, it's a lot easier to spread all that stuff out in the pontoon boat and then show it to you. And actually get them out fishing. You don't have to dig through the tackle box all the time. So check that out. Let's get at it. What does Dusty have here? Well, here's one we've been doing good with that I've just been telling you about. Check it out. Bomber. Now look at that crazy thing. These were back in the 40s they came up with. These couple guys were trying to come up with something that dived down but also float up. And spoons, you could get them down there. Spoon plugs, you could dive them down, but they don't float. They were trying to come up with something that would dive down, float up, dive down, float up, because most crankbaits didn't go very far under back in the day. Well, they come up with these guys. Would look like a crawdad maybe, swimming backwards. But they work. I mean, it looks like some kind of bomb from World War II. I mean, they work, and we got a big fish on these, and pike, bass, even sunnies and perch were hitting these things. I guess it just pissed them off. We're catching panfish on these things. Jason catches a monster sunfish on one. One of the biggest sunfish I've ever seen. What a bomber. It's crazy and it's fun. And you can get these things cheap because they made a lot of them back in the day, and there wasn't a whole lot of deep diving, floating crankbaits around. There just wasn't. So, lots of these around. So yeah, if you're a serious collector, want it just so, it costs you a pretty penny, but you can get like 4, 5, 6 of these for 10, 15 bucks. Now this one came this color. basic color scheme. Now I put the lines on the side. It was black on the back, but I put the lines on the side because, I don't know, just up here it makes it look more like a perch, I guess. Makes me more likely to keep chucking it. So, see, run across these things, check them out, because it works. Now, maybe it's just because these fish haven't seen this kind of craziness before, where this thing comes along like this, and I mean, it comes up like you have a bobber under there. It goes, whoop. It trips their trigger. Maybe it's because they've never seen it before. Maybe it actually is a stellar bait design. It works. You can check it out on our channel. A lot of these things, I'm going to chuck all this stuff. You see me making these shows, that stuff's going to get chucked. I'm going to get up in my pontoon boat, probably up in Canada or local lake or something, and just chuck them. See what'll bite. Especially on days when the fish will cooperate. But I tell you what, that bomber, I took it out the one morning, and I bet you Jason didn't catch a fish for 3 hours. I was catching fish on a bomber. The first time I let it float up to the top, and I just twitched it on the top. Now I used to do that with other kinds of lures, and I've heard people doing that. Big old bass come up and nailed it. And I think I caught a pike and another bass, and Jason caught some panfish. I caught some perch on it. I guess they were just attacking it because it ticked them off. But it was fun. Had a good time. Caught a bunch of fish on it. The first night I ever used one of these, pike grabbed it. And I mean, stopped it. You can see that. Just look for the thumbnail with the balm on it. And I mean, pulled that bugger. Man, that was fun. And then the next day was tough fishing. And I was fooling them with this. And we have a lot of stuff that, if it's tough fishing, we'll go to a MIP spinner. Spinner bait. The ones we do well with. But that morning, it was the bomber. What the heck's that supposed to look like? Now there's ones called mud bugs from Arbogast. Kind of look like a crayfish. Now I just got some of those. Same thing. There was lots of them. Not too hard to get if you're not too fussy about the finish. Should work the same way. But that one looks more like a crayfish. It's a fish swimming backwards. But it works. Check it out. Check this guy out. Some kind of old spoon. I can't remember what it said, but I got my spectacles and my magnifying glass. And I painted it up a little bit. Gillo, number 3, patent pending. Gillo. I don't know if that's the company or the name of the lure. But we've done well with some of these spoon plugs, that Buck Perry spoon plug. It kind of looks like it would. You hook it in the front like a spoon, got the hole, put your treble on the back. And I'm guessing it's going to kind of swim like a spoon plug or something similar. And also dart around like a spoon. I'll put the black and orange on it. You know. Why not? It was kind of beat up. This side was the better side, so I left it alone. A little scratched up. The beat up side, I painted it. So, we're going to catch a fish on Gillo. And who knows what it'll be. It's so much fun to get these old lures and take them out and fish them. Now here's something that looks just more retro. I heard of this guy. It's called a trickster. Spinner bait. Now there's a different looking spinners on there. There are blades on that. I don't know what the heck you'd call those blades. This is designed by Rick Clunn. Yeah. That Bassmaster, I think he won it 4 times. The classic. He come up with these. Got a little bend in here. I guess that gives a little different action to these things. Guy knows how to fish, so grabbed him. And I got, of course, I think it had the Fire Tiger skirt on it. And I put the orange on the bleeds, and then I did up the orange and black version. Because if you get it the color you like, there's so many different color lures. You probably got your own favorites, your own colors, so either fish them the way Rick Clunn meant them to be, or paint them up to what you like. The trickster probably like fishing these old fishing lures. It's something they haven't seen. They haven't felt that vibration. They haven't, because these fish catch and release is great. Now, I don't know how much they can think about it, but how many times do you see a fish come flying up to these things and just stop? And I bet you that's because he's been caught on it before. And something in his gut's telling him, no, don't do it. So you show him something else, you trick him with the Rick Clunn trickster. And I bet you can find these. Doubt they still make them, but they're going to catch fish. Not a doubt in my mind. Then you run across these, they must have made a bazillion of these things. This is a flatfish. Of course, there's the lazy lake, those kinds of lures. See if I can steady that. That's why I'm on the table here, so I can steady. And this is an old one. You can see it's got that double hook deal in the front. And I imagine back in the day when everybody was keeping them and eating them, that was a good deal. Didn't get away. You didn't come home and have to explain to your wife why you... Oh yeah, we got some bites, but we didn't get it to the boat. But I guess as time went on, people realized that's a real bugger to get unhooked at a fish. Not too good for the fish if you're going to let him go. Yellow and red, some black on there. Gonna catch fish on that. That is serious old school. This lure is probably older than I am. Maybe not, but pretty dang close. Catch fish on that. Flatfish. I've got some bigger versions. You can still buy flatfish. You still make them. Still buy them. Yeah. That's how good they are. And how much people have confidence. They're still around. Here's one from my past. And of course, over the years I lost these things. So I had to grab this. This is a rebel frog. And they did different. Got the wee frog, the teeny wee. I don't know if it says what size this is. Probably a wee frog or something. Get out my magnifier. It is shallow floater, rebel. So it doesn't say what size. Wee frog, I guess, probably what it's called. Like the crawdad line, and got the frogs and the grasshoppers and hornets and all that kind of stuff. To work. Chuck that out there, and then don't reel it right away. Chuck it out. Let it on the top a little bit. And then start wiggling along. Stop it. Wiggle along. That's going to work, because I know it works. I know this one works. I sketched a lot of fish on them and lost it. Rebel. Here's one from Strike King. Now this is a little one that sneaks up on people. They probably still make these. I'm not quite sure, but you certainly can get a hold of them. Rocket shad. Fast. You chuck it out there fast. Smallmouth. Hammer these things. Probably because it's moving so fast. And it's so small. It's just a tight, compact, heavy little spinner bait that you can burn it. Burn it right along here. I'm talking about burning different baits. Boom. Rocket shad by Strike King. Definitely retro. But to work. And sometimes the smallmouth are like footballs that'll hit that thing. Guess they just don't have time to think about it. And rocket shad is a good name for it. You can just burn it along. And you can fish them slower, deeper. Sometimes that works too. Ooh, rocket shad. And we're on the antique side of things. This is a wood spin scout. Look at that. Cool. Now, I've never fished one of these. I've seen them showing them on the different lure shows that are on. And catch me a fish on it. It's a little bit beat up, so I'm not afraid to fish it. It's a little dinged. A little bit dinged up, but I'm going to fish it. Put it on the show. So I get confidence in that color. And we're going to get us a fish. Little George. Old man's little George. These are like in everybody's tackle box from back in the day. I remember when I was a kid, I'd be Googling and looking in somebody's tackle box, staring at their stuff, because I didn't have this stuff. Dad was not a lure fisherman. So I would see this in other guys' tackle boxes when they open them up to get it, whatever they were using out. They work. You can see that on our show. We do well on these things. Just started using them. Little George, come in different sizes. This is a little one. Of course, orange, black. We do go well on that. Somebody had a whole bunch of them. They still make them, but they don't make this color anymore. But not rocket science to spray it up. Because you really don't have to get all that fancy. You know, I think a lot of the fancy finishes are for us. Because we Sharpie marker a lot of stuff. Fish hammer it. Good old Daredevil. How many fish I've caught on a Daredevil? 5 of diamonds. Good old 5 of diamonds. Boy, that's tried and true, retro, old school, antique, whatever you want to call it. Put some mustad weedless hooks on there. Works pretty good. Now, Daredevil makes a weedless Daredevil, but it has a slightly different action. And what I have found is I actually get less weeds on this deal with the wired treble than I do on the weedless one that they designed. Now, sometimes they like that other wiggle. It's a little different wobble to it. Good old Daredevil. I don't know what size this one is. 3/4 ounce. Done good with this size and all the way down. The Daredevil Wimp, you can't go wrong with those. Get you everything under the sun on there. What else we got? You know, I'm a sucker for a little plastic box with a lot of lures in it. Somebody will like $5, $4, whatever. Give me $4. Give me $5. Well, old repellent. Guess I should shove this stuff forward so I can keep my elbows on the dang table, like I said I would. That's gonna catch a fish. I know these work. He's gonna catch fish. We're gonna put it on the show. Spinner baits. Check this out. I love my spinner baits. I mean, if you need to catch a fish, go to a spinner or a spinner bait. This is a Bagley switchblade. Yeah. You can still get a hold of them. They don't make them anymore, but they're not cheap. Evidently, these are very popular, very collectible. But luckily, back in the day, I bought 4 or 5 of them. Still got them. And I've seen them on eBay, but they ain't cheap. But the idea is just a little spring on here that you slide forward. Just slide it forward. And then you can take the blade off. Take that blade right off of there. And you can also take these blades off too. You can slide that clevis and beads back, take them right on off, put your other blade back on, slide it on, whatever you want to do on it. If you watch any of my shows, I've actually switched these blades out to different things over the years. These work. Say Bagley right on them. If you switch them out, keep the blades, because for some reason these things ain't cheap, so I imagine it's a collectible item. So keep a hold of them blades that say Bagley on them, even if you decide not to use those. And of course I shake like a leaf, but most people could make this work pretty quick. And you just put that spring back on there. Spring back on there. And boom, you're back to fishing. And you can just take them off and just have one blade back here. Sometimes you'll see the clevis, the swivel still on here. That makes a little rattling noise. Not supposed to be on there. But sometimes I'll take that off, take this off, and just put the little blade back here. One blade, slow roll it. Boom. Sometimes slow rolling, and I mean slow. If you've seen any of my shows, I have a gander mount bar there. So I call it the donut. You just, if you hang that thing long enough, going slow. But this kind of lure gives you the advantage of being able to switch it out to conditions, especially if you can't take a lot of tackle with you. You went with somebody, or you lost the other one. You're in a kayak, canoe. You can switch blades out, and it came with a bunch of different blades that also say Bagley on them. And that don't really matter, because I'll put perch blades on them, fire tiger blades on them, because look at fire tiger skirt. Why not? Fire tiger head on it. Put fire tiger blades on it. But you can do whatever you want. You like, I don't even know what that blade shape is called. Because these are willows. And it works straight up just like you buy it. Or you can tinker around. I love tinkering around. So. But usually I get them to some point where they're pretty dang durable. Got a big loop on the front compared to most spinner baits. And it stays put better on if you're using a wire leader, or we use titanium leaders. Because once I buy these things, like I said, I'm cheap. I don't like losing them. This will stay on that snap better than your usual R-bend. But like I said, they still sell them. I mean, you can still get a hold of them. They don't make them anymore. But they're not cheap. That's probably why they're still out there to be bought. They ain't cheap. But they work. Then I run across some stuff. Now I got probably 3 or 4 of these. They kind of stacked inside of each other, like some kind of measuring spoons you'd have in your kitchen. And it's kind of an unusual shape, stamped out of brass, I guess. And I put the orange and black on it. Yeah, you know I am. Got a lot of confidence in that, especially early and late in the day. And a whole bunch of sizes. This is a bigger one. A treble hook on it. Will this kind of catch a fish? It ain't. Sure it would if I chucked it long enough. But pretty cool. And it didn't cost me a whole lot, because there's a whole bunch of them stacked together and they're not any fancy name on them. Let's see what it says here. Find out the name on this. Number 5. Made in the U.S. of A. Superior. Superior 1919. Is that the year? You're going, you painted it. I'm going fishing. That's what they're for. Is that the year? I'll have to look that up. Gonna have to check that out. Before I get letting some big old pike grab it. Here is another spinnerbait by another famous Bassmaster guy, Denny Brower. Called a spring bill. So I guess that bill on the front there gives it a little more of a action, kind of like a dirty bird. Who makes the dirty bird? I forget. Maybe Bomber. But anyway, this is a spring bill. Spring bill. Yeah, I figured out. Better sit it down so it shakes so damn bad. OPD, patent pending. Anyway, Denny Brower involved in this, designed it, and there is a spring right there. And I imagine that gives this back a deal. I haven't fished it yet. It's Denny Brower, kind of like Rick Clum. Guy who knows how to catch fish. And gives that a little bit more action. It's on a cable. This is not a solid wire. I can stop shaking. It is a cable on a spring. Gonna get different action to that. Should be pretty durable too, I would think. And a couple leads on it. I put the baby bass skirt on. The skirt that was with it was shot. A lot of those old skirts, just kind of dry rot. Gonna catch fish. Denny Brower designed. Got knew how to catch fish. Check that. As soon as I saw that, man, you see a lot of spoons in people's tackle boxes. And a lot of them are just basic, same things, daredevil shapes. And this one's called Gypsy Kings. They're kind of like daredevil shape. But this one, what the heck? And that sucker's going to dance around. So the bad side, I painted it orange and black. Yeah, kind of a rerun in it. But it works for me, especially when it's in. And this one is called the Dazzler Silver Demon. Of course, this ain't anywhere close to silver. Wonder if it was originally. Dazzler. Birmingham, Michigan. I was going to say Alabama, but it says Michigan. Birmingham, Michigan. Made in the US of A. Back in the day. That's going to catch fish. That, just looking at that thing, I'm like, that is a vibration and a wobble that they ain't seen. Confidence in this color. Like I said before, you probably have confidence in different colors. You paint yours up different or don't. I imagine a lot of them didn't get painted because it cost more to do it. Plus, they don't know what you would want. Back in the day, guys didn't have a gazillion fishing lures. We do now. Here's an old bugger. Now this one, it kind of says stuff on it, but they covered it over with another piece of metal, so I can't really read it. They wasn't thinking there, were they? And it is kind of a weedless spoon. It's got a bucktail on there, and there's a wire all the way through that with a, let's see if I can show you that, spinner on it. On the back, give it a little action. Keep it probably up where it belongs. Keep it from getting snagged into weeds. Got an interesting shape to it. Didn't cost me money. Some of these old lures, they're old, but they're not super collectible because they get corroded and beat up, and guys fished them. And some of them just aren't as big a deal. So I'll think I'll throw that. I'll chuck that out there. We'll see if we can catch fish, put it on the shelf. That'd be fun. Here's one. Actually, dug these out of my own tackle. Vibratron Rattler by Lunker lures. About to say something else that was wrong. As you'll see on my shows, I keep doing it. Keep saying the wrong company. This is a Vibratron Rattler. Double flash blade spinnerbait. There is a rattle chamber in here. Right there. Got a rattle in it. I don't know if you can hear that. This originally had a rubber body on it. Probably looked like a fish or a tube kind of deal. And in my tackle box, I think within a year it just melted. Probably let the thing get too hot. And I chucked it over in the back of my shop somewhere. 2 of them. And forgot all about them. So as I was digging around out there, I ran across something. I said, that's a wacky thing. So I said, get them out, clean all that gooey rubber off of there, and painted them up. I did the yellow and red. You can see this on my show. I don't know if I caught them on the yellow and red, but the orange and black one. Seriously. The advertisement says it catches 5 times as many fish. And it works. I was fishing, Jason fishes in the front of the boat. I'm in the back. The first fish I catch on the orange and black version of this, big old pike. And we're finding with these old lures, I guess they don't see them. They don't feel these vibrations. They don't see anything like this, so they don't hesitate. How many times have I said that? But boom. I put the skirt on it. It didn't come with this kind of skirt. It came with a rubber fish on it, or a tube thing kind of on it. And it worked. And I'm fishing behind Jason after I caught that big pike. He fished right through this area, and next thing you know, I'm picking up panfish. Boom, 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 boom. And the advertisement, as you look up these things, is it catches 5 times as many fish as a regular spinnerbait. It's true. Not all the time. Sometimes they don't want this vibration. It's too much. It's a lot of vibration. And when it's going down, it's like a helicopter. I mean, that thing is just throwing around like... So, sometimes that's what they want. It works. And we caught many fish on these things. Well, I did anyway. Now Jason has some too. Turns out, I didn't think you'd be able to buy new ones, but there is a new version of this. Now, whether they still make them or they're just all still floating around, it's the triple rattler. It has 3 chambers instead of 1 with rattles. And it also has another blade up here. And I bought some for Jason for his birthday. And we're going to try those. New old school, right? You can still get them. A little bit different, not the same 1 chamber, single blade. But it's not kind of cool. We're going to give that a whirl, and that's kind of new old school, right? Give it a whirl. You can get a hold of them. I've seen them. Old ones on eBay and new ones on different tackle places. Vibratron Rattler by Lunker Lures. Keep saying something else and I won't say it because it'll mess me up. They work. So not only is it retro, and because I'm doing this show, I dug them out from where I chucked them, cleaned them off, fixed them up. It worked. Sometimes you already have this stuff, and because that thing melted, those things melted on there, and you're like, oh man, you yank them out, you scrape it out, tack them out. Should have cleaned them up and used them years ago. They work. That 5 times as many fish, it worked out one night. Check this spoon out. This is an old spoon, and actually came orange. I put the straps on there with a Sharpie marker, like I always do. And it's actually got, looks like a fish on the other side, and it is offset. Haven't fished it yet, but it'll catch fish. We're going to do it. Come on along. Will it be a big one? Could be. That's different and that's old school. Sidewinder. What makes it? I don't know. That's what it says on it. Can you see that? Sidewinder. Cool beans. Get fish on that. This old dude. And we're thinking spinner baits. They're not really old. You know, came out in the 60s, 70s, and then got fancier. And of course, you can get all kinds of spinner baits now. Well, this one is seriously old. It's kind of a spoon and a spinner. And I'm guessing this piece here, you probably put a, what do they call them things, Uncle Josh pork frog or something on there. Give it some flavor. Then your hook was free, but you can put that right on there. Not bad. That's all that, and it wasn't much. Didn't cost a whole lot. Some of these old wacky lures didn't cost a whole lot. I don't know who made that. Oh, Hustler. Look at that. Pretty tiny. Hauser. Excuse me. Hauser. I don't think I've heard of Hauser before. Bet you catch fish though. I'm gonna paint it up. I don't know. Might try it out like it is. Might paint it up. Maybe I just Sharpie marker it so I can clean it off later. Never run across them before. One of the original spinner baits, like the Shannons. This one was a hidden. Picked up a double-bladed hidden one, that was pretty old with little holes in it. Can we try that out? We'll have to try this out. Chuck it out there. Tight line. This is not seriously old, but this is an old design. And what the heck did they call these things? Having a senior moment here. Whirly. Well, if you know, put it down in the comments because I'm going to blank. Going to the blank here. A lot of them I've seen are weedless. Now, I do not see where this one had a weed guard on it. Now, a lot of places we fish, I just take things along the top of the weeds, and this will work fine. And I could always rig it up with a weedless deal or put a kind of rubber worm on there and make it weedless, but Whirly spoon. That ain't it. If you know, put it down in the comments because Dusty has forgotten. But look at that, fire dagger. New old school. This is not an old lure, but an old design. What the heck is the name of it? You could help me out with that. I'd appreciate it. Well, that's enough of that. If you're still here, thank you for staying. So many cool things. And we're going fishing. Check it out. Check out some of my old stuff. We've already been catching fish on some of these things. It's pretty dang amazing how good these old lures work. I don't know why that surprises me. People used to have to catch them to eat them. If a lure came from back in the 40s, 30s and 40s, people were relying on eating the fish. I remember as a kid, we didn't let many go. You brought them back, you cooked them up, you cleaned them up, you cooked them, or you put them in the freezer, cooked them later. Back in the nowadays, we turn a lot of fish loose. So, but they were depending on these things to work, and they do. And they do. So come along on my journey, doing some collecting and fishing. Some are new, some are old, some are antique, some are new old school. You get them right off there. Daredevils, you can just buy them. Flatfish, all kinds of stuff like map spinners, all kinds of colors. Even stuff like spoon plugs. You still get them. All kinds of colors. Brand new. So, all right. Thank you so much for coming along. You folks have a great day. I hope you enjoyed this.
Well, here's all the lures all spread out so you can see them. Lots of cool different things. Lots of old school gold. Some antiques in there. Vintage. Retro. Fish catchers. Awesome stuff. Well, here's all the lures I was just showing you. Lots of old school gold. Hope you enjoyed it. I sure do. Collecting and fishing and oh man, and they actually work. Come on along. Let's see if we can't put some on the YouTube.